So, this is your host, Steve, from the back, as always. And, you know, I don't really know what I'm gonna really rant about, honestly. But, you know, have you guys ever heard of Chris Chan? Like, does anyone out there else know who Chris Chan is? And hear of the crazy stories about Chris Chan and his autistic, just retarded ways. You know, Chris Chan with his room full of goddamn Nintendo. I don't even know what to call it. Collectibles? What do you call it? Chris Chan shows clear signs of being a hoarder, and I'm pretty sure his mother and father, whoever lives with him, it must run in his bloodline or something. This hoarding mentality. And now, don't get me wrong, I do have, to a degree, hoarding type of tendencies, but I learned to not let it overtake me. So I've literally, I wouldn't say mastered it, but I'd say that I have developed myself in the art of being somewhat of a minimalist, because I realized that, like, things should have value if you're going to have them. And if you're not ever using something or getting any use out of it, if you don't really value that thing, then it's probably just taking up space. And I also will have to say that, like, I am a weird sentimental person, so things like birthday cards, gifts, things like that, depending on who it's from, you know, it's for some reason it's really hard for me to part with. It's hard for me as a person to actually part with it, but, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, you have to really realize, like, you don't want to ever hoard things, you know what I mean? You just don't want to do it. It's just not a good thing to do. It never ends well. That's really what I'm trying to say. It never. I don't know if there is an end, but you get what I'm saying, right? It never ends well. It's never a positive outcome when you start dipping into that type of domain, if you will. So, you know, I seen these videos and I had to laugh. Oh shit! Fucking thing that loads. So, as I was saying, Chris Chan is like the Chris Chan is the definition of retarded. Like, it's almost like he was a born loser. Chris Chan was a literal born loser. I'm not saying this to be mean, I'm just saying what the truth is. It's a sad truth, because, you know, you would hate to think that someone has it that hard that they're literally born to lose. You know, you are born to suffer. That's kind of what I look at Chris Chan. Chris Chan was born to suffer. He wasn't born to be fulfilled. He wasn't born to have things he likes in his life. He was born to suffer and fumble throughout life with not even a fighting chance. You know, it's a train wreck. It's a train wreck wrapped in a dumpster fire, bound for hell. Is what he is, you know. Jesus Christ. But I had to laugh when I saw the video. Someone did this, and I can't even do the impression. I can't even attempt to try to start even doing this impression, because I can't do it any justice. I'm not gonna try. I can't do the Chris Chan impression. I would have to really practice to do the impression of his voice. And this guy is literally trying to convince people that the ghost of his goddamn dog, his dog is haunting an area because he doesn't want them to come on his property for, I forgot what reason it was, but it was just the stupidest shit you've ever heard. And his just lazy, he's so, it's like he thinks he's ingenious, but he's just the most lazy, haphazard fucking person that I've ever seen. Like, the way that he would try to con people, you know, not even realizing that he himself was being conned the whole time, because everyone is smarter than this guy, you know, because he literally, I'm not going to be politically correct, I'm just going to say it how I think it. He's a retard. He is a literal retard. And it's just really a sick, twisted, sad story. It's just disgusting, man. And like, you can just literally listen to these Christian stories and watch this shit and see the pure, you can just see the ignorance. Like, you can see the slowness, the ignorance, you can see the death in the area in which he was raised in. Right? What I mean by that, by the death, is you can see evidence of like deep ingrained roots and ways of life that I don't feel like people in his area really have anything to do anyway. But even if they had stuff to do, they just seem like generally people who are just kind of like stuck in their ways. And it's just, in my opinion, it doesn't, well, I could be wrong, I could be completely wrong, but to me it doesn't seem like a type of environment that evokes or out of necessity creates people that think like, that have great minds. It just doesn't look like that to me. It doesn't seem like a place where people generally have greater type of minds, you know. And I've seen this type of shit before. I've even seen this in where I was raised, in a city, in an urban city. I've seen like people just be slow. Like, it's literally like they all think the same, they all dress the same, they all act the same. They tend to want to do the same things, and it's just like, you know, when you get into that type of environment, and the sad thing is, see, Chris Chan, like I said, he's a born loser. Chris Chan is like if you put a penguin in the jungle, right? You put a penguin in the jungle, it's dead by daylight, or dead by dusk, or it's probably fucking dead, because a penguin just does not have the tools nor the wherewithal or even genetic experience to survive in certain areas with certain predators. It can avoid certain predators that it knows of, but the predators like that are just totally on a different level, and a penguin's not going to last, you know, by any means necessary. It'll be lucky if a person finds it or whatever, right? So that's how I look at Chris Chan. Chris Chan is not only a wet noodle and a wet towel by nature. So he's lucky he didn't even get beat up. Well, maybe he did, I don't know, but he's lucky that he probably didn't live in an area where he would just get his ass kicked and get robbed and stuff. And like, Jesus, the places that I know about, some places where I'm from, people would prey on Chris Chan. Like, literally, that's the type of guy to where he would get robbed so badly. You know what I mean? Like, he would get pretty much mugged, easily handled. I mean, easily handled so easily, and robbed for like the dumbest of shit. Like, you know, he has all these consoles, and he probably has a Nintendo Switch and all. Man, that shit would all be gone. Everything. It would all be gone. Literally, he has so much shit that they wouldn't really want half of the shit he has. But he would get his ass robbed fast, too. Because he, like I said, he is a wet towel, and there is not a hard bone in his body. And not only that, but Chris Chan is also so mentally challenged that he doesn't even have like the situational awareness or the wherewithal to he doesn't even see anything coming either. So it's horrible. It's a recipe for disaster. So you know, I was just thinking of this because it was some of the craziest shit I ever heard of. Then I hear like supposedly he was fucking his mom or something. Like, I'm like, I am done. Like, this shit is, it's like, what environment are you living in to where your mom's crazy as hell? How is your mom allowing this? Like, how old is your mom? How old was she? Like, what, 70 or something? Like, I'm not even saying that it's gross that she's that old, because, there are women that are that old that are still have things to offer sexually to many men. It's just that this bitch is just she looks gross from when you just look at her face. You can't really, I don't know even what her body would look like, but I just know her. She just looks like an old crazed cat woman, bag lady. She looks crazy as fuck. She looks just senile and crazy as fuck. And I'm thinking, like, what's going on? Like, how come no one was checking up on these people? No one was actually, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, because who would have the reason to? No one would really have a big reason to try to butt into their life and see what's really going on. But, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, maybe I'm fucking this story up, but to my knowledge, supposedly Chris Chan must have been so desperate that I guess he just, decided that he was going to maybe make a move on his fucking mom. And his mom, like, I don't think that his mom was like, now I could be wrong about this too. Maybe his mom was so incoherent and this sounds gross, but maybe she's like asleep or something, and he technically just like kind of raped this woman. You know what I mean? She's like on meds and shit, passed out. I don't know how the fuck this happened. It's disgusting. It's disgusting as fuck, even trying to think of like how did some shit like this happen. But some part of me thinks maybe her nasty old crazy ass, crazy is the key word, just let it happen because she was cool with it. Like, she's like, oh well, I'm not getting any attention from anybody else, so I'm just gonna fuck my own son. And I mean, he is retarded already and has clear mental illness, and she probably has clear mental illness already, and you get what I'm just saying. Like, at that point, her husband, if there is one, I don't know in the picture, he probably could go out for 3 days and go on a fucking party spree and go fuck some bitches, if he even still can, at his age. And she's probably so fucked in the head that he could tell her anything he wants when he comes back. You know what I mean? And this is what I mean about this whole, like, this is what I mean about how, like, I frown upon things that I consider weak. I frown upon things that I consider fucked up. I frown and shun things that I consider to be excuses, right? And this is probably a rant that's going to piss some people off, but I'm going to just go on this rant because I feel like I'm just going to, I feel like just doing this rant, so I'm just going to do this rant. So I was watching this video, and I was skeptical at first before I watched it, but then I listened to this guy, and he was like a comedian, right? One thing I thought was pretty cool about this guy was he said he already made it known. He's like, hey, if you're gonna be a snowflake and you're gonna be a pussy, you're gonna be offended, just leave now, right? I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what he was saying, and it was hilarious. Like, a guy got up, a woman got up and walked out, like they weren't even ready. They knew they weren't ready, so they were like, oh shit, and they just did the walk of shame, just walked out the room. One lady got mad or some shit. It was just like, it was funny because there's always people like that. Like, they can't handle the truth. They don't want to hear this, so they just don't want to be there. I get it, but he did one of those, and so this guy was talking about how, like, okay, the statistics, like scientific statistics. Why is it that, like, it seems that there are some people that are gay, for instance, right? Now, you get some people that are gay. They know they're gay. They were born gay, obviously. It's clear to any normal person with 2 brain cells, like I always say, that person is gay as fuck. And it's just because they just are. Like, they were obviously just born this way. it is what it is. You know what I mean? Generally, people like that I would say they tend to be more tolerable. In my opinion, they tend to be very, at least tolerable. You know what I mean? Like, they're not like, how do I say it? What I'm basically trying to say is, to me, it's more intolerable if a person is a certain way and they're just not like honest about it. Because, like I said, things like cowardice, weakness, shit like deception. I don't like that type of shit. You know, when I see that type of shit in people, it disgusts me. Honestly, I'll just be real. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm like part German Shepherd. I'm just joking. Obviously, I'm joking. Maybe it's because some weird way I'm part Nazi or something somehow. Obviously, I'm joking. I'm a fucking black man. How am I gonna be Nazi? But you get my point, right? For some reason, it's I don't know what it is. It stems up this violent. It always stems up this like violent sort of indignation in me when I see or hear people trying to be like deceptive and like, you know. And I'm thinking, well, I have to wear my skin as a person when I go outside. I'm just who I am. Like, you know, what makes you think that you are so special that being a coward is somehow acceptable? I guess that's the only way I could put it into words. Like, so you think that you're just like, you know, you hear some of these men that they're gay men, but they cheat on their wives and they try to live double. I'm thinking like, I know that's your business over there, bro, but I'm not cool with that type of shit. Like, you know, I'm thinking like, if you're gonna live that type of life, you could at least do your wife some justice and just be real and live life with integrity. You know what I mean? Because integrity is like, you know, you put yourself in harm's way instead of trying to be a deceptive person. You know what I mean? That's just how that's part of just how I am as a person. I believe, like, you know, you be honest about certain things and you just deal with the consequences, because whether you're a man or woman, it's just a kind of a code of honor, you know, I believe in. But like, not everybody's like that, and I get, yeah, everyone has rights. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But that, I just don't like. I don't like deception, and people think that they're slick and all this. Like, it just kind of disgusts me, and it's creepy, and it's just like, I don't. It tends to make me very weary of people. You know what I mean? And this guy was basically saying that, like, yes, a large percentage of people are, like I said, you know, they're very gay, they were born gay and shit. But then you got these other motherfuckers to where it's not necessarily that they're just born gay and they're just born with a rainbow popsicle in their mouth. That's a joke, but you know what I'm saying? It's not that they're just born like that. It's more like a lot of their so-called gay proclivities and shit stem from mental illness. It stems from a place of what's the word? A very misplaced sense of I don't even know how to say this. It's kind of like a weird mechanism they've developed because they are not as let's just say well equipped as a normal person. You know what I mean? Kind of like someone that sees that, like, they're like, you know, I get gratification out of dominating someone, you know what I mean? Or like, I get gratification out of molesting a child or some shit. Or like, I get you know, those type of motherfuckers. It's like, I get gratification out of any sexual encounter that I have with a person. So it's like, are you actually attracted to every sex? Or is it that you actually, just because you're weak, malformed ass as a person in spirit, is it that you literally need to somehow get some type of gratification out of that because you are a malformed, weak motherfucker? And see, this may sound harsh to you people, but you gotta understand the type of person I am. I'm kind of okay with that whole idea of, hey, the thing comes out deformed, throw it off a cliff. You know what I mean? It comes out malformed and unviable, drown it, kill it. You know what I mean? Because at that point, that level of weakness, in my opinion, it would make it, how do I say this? It would literally make it easier, and it sounds more humane to me, to kill something fast rather than let it live a long, dragged out life of disappointment, struggles, ups and downs. Now, someone would say, you're crazy. How can you say that? That's the most evilest, barbaric thing I've ever heard. Well, guess what? That's my logic. That's my mentality. You know, and I'm not saying like every person that has a mental illness to where maybe they're a little fucked up deserves to be killed at birth. Or, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that some human beings, I believe, never should have entered this world. You know, like you hear of people who is like, you know, guys that they say this child predator, murder, sexual fucker would abduct kids at like a store or something and literally rape children or something. You know what I mean? It's like, do you think a person like that should have been like, let's say, put in an incinerator when they came out the womb? Or do you think they should have lived? Obviously, if you have a brain, you would agree that they should have been incinerated at fucking birth. They should have never, if you're gonna do that type of shit, you know, you probably should have never been allowed to live. It's just we are so like, oh, we're so evolved and we're so modern and so fair and humane that's not a solution. Well then, what about those kids though that all that shit happened to? What about the fact that you probably could literally create another monster off of the incident that happened with that person? You know, who knows what's going to happen to that child that was a victim when they get older. And that's why I have this mentality. I have this no bullshit mentality of nah. If you're if you're gonna be a little bit just too fucked up, then you probably need to be taken out. You know what I mean? You need to be taken out of this world. Shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Because that's just my mentality, right? That's just my mentality. Now, some people agree with me, and a lot of people don't. Some people say, that is beyond hate speech! That's terroristic! You're crazy! Motherfucker, get the fuck out of here. It doesn't really even matter. You know, your opinion, you can have your own opinion if you want, but that shit really doesn't faze me at the end of the day. You know, it don't really faze me. It's like, you know, because I look at it like, you're the one who should be shamed. That's my whole point. In this whole this rant, I just briefly talked about that because this guy kind of was talking about that when his stand up / educating these fucking stupid hipster kids, and it's like, you know, I just basically, I understand certain things on a certain level. People just don't really, they really just don't understand anywhere near to that capacity, like how I understand that, you know. And this whole Chris Chan bullshit, I'm not saying Chris Chan needs to be burned at the stake or whatever. I'm not saying that, because he's not, in my opinion, he's not that horrible that he needs to be like killed for his crimes or no, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is Chris Chan is an example of the whole reason why, first off, that people sometimes need to have help from many places. They need to be, how do I say this? They need to be aided in so many things. Now, maybe it's a lost cause, but you get what I'm saying. They need to be helped. And also, this is like a warning. This is a warning against some of you people out here who you always jump to the conclusion, right? You always jump to the fucking conclusion that, like, everything has to be so, accepting and, you know, acceptance and integrate. It's not always about that. It's not always about integration and acceptance and all that. It's not always about that shit. I'm telling you, it's not always about that. Now, what I'm saying is, the whole point is that hopefully as a person, you or more people can distinguish the difference between a person who just maybe needs a little help, or maybe a person that doesn't need any help at all. Maybe they're just different. Like I said, some people that are like gay, for instance, but they're just, you know, they're clearly born how they are. You know, obviously, and it's nothing mentally ill about it. It's just that's the way they just are. There's a difference. What I'm saying is there is always a distinct there's always a distinct difference between like one thing and another, right? And how I look at it is kind of like, you know, it's everyone's job to distinguish what every fucking thing is. You know what I mean? Someone say that sounds unrealistic. Well, I'm not saying you literally distinguish every single thing, but what I'm saying is it's important that you at least have an idea, like it's even a thought in your mind that, hey, maybe this is not a good idea. Like maybe it's not a good idea that we are so tolerant of this type of behavior or that type of behavior, and maybe we should actually scrutinize it to a certain degree instead of letting people act like fucking fools, you know, and do stupid shit, or God forbid, horror. Because some people, like I said, they're on another level. They need to be fucking killed. Never should have been born. Just horrific crimes, and just run fucking wild. You know what I mean? They just run wild. You know what I'm saying? But I also want to talk about in this rant is like how, see, some people don't know how to distinguish what is natural from just pure evil. You know, like on the surface, you could see something and you think, oh man, well, those people are evil, right? You think, not that it's true, but you're like, oh man, they seem evil. They seem so just evil. You know, especially if you're like from a Christian background. You know, you look at people and they're thinking, well, they don't seem radical, but they just seem violent and evil. Like that's really, you know, because some people really equate that with evil. They equate like violence with evil. You know, but what they don't understand is that sometimes violence is necessary. So it's not necessarily evil, it's just it's necessary. You know, but they don't really understand that concept. They need to be taught that concept. It's like you literally have to literally convince someone, and then you have to like teach. You have to teach people this. You know, because some people just aren't born with the right innate ability, like I said, to distinguish one thing from another. Their mind is it's not on point, as they say. It's they don't have that type of vision, right? So it needs to be developed. That's my point. It needs to be developed. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, you as a person have to be able to distinguish the difference, right? You need to learn what necessary evil is. And then you also need to learn what actually is the difference, you know? So you're not like thinking, oh, well, this is fine, or this is okay, or that's fine. It like, because sometimes something can be fine and okay, and then sometimes, hell no, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, fuck no, it is not okay. It is not okay, and it's fucking retarded. Matter of fact, okay, I'm even going to go on a limb here and just give my opinion about this whole Christian nonsense. Now, this may sound fucked up to some people, and this probably sounds fucked up to a lot of people, right? But I look at it like certain people, right? Like, for instance, someone like Christian or whatever, his fucked up family, and they're hoarding, and they're fucking fire hazards and all that shit. And the incest and all that. When I look at it like, now, maybe they're not really hurting much of anybody but themselves, right? But this is something I have to say, right? Where you got to be careful with this type of shit, right? But I also, on the same coin, will say, I think something more productive could be going on in that area. You know what I mean? By that, I mean, like, someone could be occupying that house, that property, that area, that is doing something a little more productive than the fucking insanity that's going on there. Now, like I said, it's a free country. That's obviously their property. Whatever. They're fucked up as fuck. They're retards. Okay. We've established that. They're free, though. They're free. And, you know, no one really has the right to do anything about that. But I also say it's a shame. This type of behavior, this type of shit should be shunned, and it should be what's the word? It should be frowned upon. It should be frowned upon. That's just my opinion. It should be frowned upon. This foolishness and this disgusting behavior should be frowned upon. But hey, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Now I'm also gonna say on the same coin that, you know, me being a Satanist and me believing in certain things and stuff and trying to cultivate certain things, a lot of times people don't get that. They don't get that, and they think you're evil, you're this, you're that. Yeah, that's how you sound to me when you say shit like that. When you frown upon me, you sound like a child to me. You know, it's like it's pitiful. It's pitiful. I look at you like you're pitiful. You know, when you do that. But on the same coin, it's like, you're not my dad! You sound like that meme to me. You're not my dad, you ugly motherfucker! It's like, okay, you can cry and throw a tantrum, but okay, alright. You're lost, because, you know, you can believe what you want, but that's your problem, not mine. And, you know, what I'm trying to say is, like, do you even know what evil really is? It's like, you really don't. You just really don't know. You know what I mean? You have no clue. It's kind of like if you're stressing out about, and I'm going to have to say it again, especially you Christians out here, if you're stressing about, like, oh, the people who are supposed witches, you love saying that, witches and shit, oh, they're witches down the block, right? You're thinking shit about that you have no clue about. But you don't realize that same bum-ass church that you go to, there's literally probably like 2 fucking pedophiles, not saying that they're actually molesting kids or some shit, but you literally have 2 literal pedophiles probably up in that motherfucker. I'll even go out on a limb to say that, like, there's probably more fucking pedophile type people in your so-called Christian domain. But see, this is what I mean about deception. People that, you know, they think that if they smile a certain way, you know, they seem like they fit in, they don't stand out, they just fit in, that's the whole thing, you know. It's like they blend in. They feel like if they blend in, that, you know, no one's going to know what they really are. You know what I mean? Like, which is not true, because, like I said, some people may distinguish things. You know what I mean? Some people, you know, I'm gonna go into more of a story about some shit like that, but, like, I'm trying to stay on what I'm saying. So, you know, it's like, it could be some people most likely like that in your little Christian, pretty little area, and it's just, you guys just don't even know what any cues are. You don't know what to look for. You don't, you know, you're so brain dead, you don't even know what to look for. So everything just slips past you. You know, everything just goes right under your nose. Easily. You know what I mean? And that's exactly the person like that wants. Like I said, a real evil person. You know what I mean? But then, on the flip side, shit that you don't understand, you're like, oh, that's evil over there, they're satanic, or they're of the occult, you know, they're this, they're that, they're pagan, they're heathens. It's like, oh shit, so you don't, oh, that's some funny shit. That's some funny shit. That is some funny shit. So you don't even notice, you don't even notice the evil, shady shit that's going on in your domain. And then you have this, like, stupid Christian hospitality. So, motherfuckers that sometimes are of a certain way, like I said, on some pedophile type shit or whatever, some of those motherfuckers slip right past you. You don't even know. You don't even notice. Like, you don't even notice their, like, I'll give you an example, right? A couple of weird things, right? Like, there was this one time where I was at a food pantry. And it was a Catholic pantry, right? I was at a Catholic pantry. And So this, I would guess I could call him foreign because he didn't seem American to me. This foreign guy comes in with this accent, you know, he has this heavy accent. He ain't black, but he's brown. You know, I don't know. He could have been from Nepal or something. He could have been from some Middle Eastern. I don't know, but I just know he wasn't Caucasian. He wasn't black, and he seemed generally foreign. Someone say, "Is this are you? This sounds racist. This sounds like a racist black man." Motherfucker, I'm just describing what the only way I could describe this motherfucker. Fuck out of here. I don't know where he came from. I just know he wasn't from here. Clearly, you know, clearly. And he probably thought he was pretty slick and shit, but I caught on to every fucking, like I said, a lot of times I read people, I see through people a lot of times, like literally, like I look through people and see things, I see straight through them, you know? So this motherfucker comes in there, and, you know, they got like kids, literal like teens, young teens, probably definitely not 18, they got these teen motherfuckers helping the pantry, and literally, so one of the male teens comes out, and this motherfucker is just a, what do you call it, just a oblivious teen motherfucker, and he's got on like ripped jeans and shit, and he's got his little fucking like emo blonde haircut that looks like a animal done licked it, and it's slicked to the side, or some gel type of shit, I don't know, some shit like that, and ripped jeans and shit, and right away, I already knew, I was thinking like, this motherfucker here, number one, is gay as fuck. Number two, it has some pedophilic tendencies, because I could see where I could literally see how his eyes were fixated all over this teen boy. You know what I mean? And like, he literally this is the crazy shit, right? This is the buck wild, craziest shit I've ever seen, right? Heard and seen, right? So, you know how when you have a thought of something, you don't just like make any noise, you don't say anything, you don't say anything because you don't want to allude to anything. This bold, crazed motherfucker let out he was like, yes. Like I heard him, I literally verbally heard him thinking like, this nasty motherfucker. I was like, this fucking pedophile, faggot ass mother, like, you're so, it's like, if that, I'll keep it real, right? I don't have kids, but if that was my son, man, I would have got crazy up in that motherfucker. I would have been like, what the fuck did you just say, motherfucker? Were you just looking over here at my son, motherfucker? And he probably tried, nah, it's on at that point. With me, it's on. It is on at that point. I'm ready to fuck this guy up. It made me thinking in my head, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to have this much, what do you call it, law trouble or whatever, but I'll let the motherfucker know, so he probably would get intimidated, because this motherfucker probably ain't nothing, you know what I mean? He's this old, little fucking man, you know, it's like, he'd just be a fucking plaything to me, you know what I mean? But the thing is, that he would know what the fuck was up, and think twice, and be intimidated and fucking scared. You know what I mean? And I would purposely expose him in front of everybody, so now people would start asking questions like, I wonder why that guy was he really looking at the guy's son? Like, of course he fucking was. It's just, these motherfuckers were just so dumb and so oblivious, they didn't even see any of this shit going down. Me, I'm seeing all of it. I'm just thinking like, yo, that kid there, I don't know him. He's not my child. He's not a relative of mine. In fact, he's a fucking Caucasian white kid with blonde hair. But I feel like fucking this motherfucker up for looking at that kid in that way. You know what I mean? That's how I looked at it. I was like, what the fuck is this? And for being so bold to just think that, like, people are just so dumb. It's like, man, you come in... This is why I have to say this. You come into this country with that shit... Don't be lucky you don't leave in a fucking body bag. Like, because if it was up to me, you might not ever leave this country. You'd be like, what does that mean? I have, like, permanent... No, it doesn't mean that. You get read between the lines what I'm trying to really say. Shit. I'll have your ass running out of this country. You'll be going back. Jesus Christ. That's my point. That's my whole point. See, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, people look at things and they're like, oh... That's evil, And that is spooky, and that is scary. Spooky. That's what I love when people use that term, like spooky. You know, it's like, spooky? Okay. Spooky, huh? You think shit is spooky. That's a the most comical way you could put anything. Spooky. Well, okay. Things can be creepy and spooky. But that shit there is creepy and spooky. It's like, are you fucking serious? The way I look at it, people, just like I said, they don't understand what real evil is. They don't really see like a creeping, insidious force or thing moving around, like creeping. They don't see that. They always miss it. They see everything else. They see everything else. Right? They see things that, like, to them, they're trained to think things are a certain way, but they don't see the actual threat. And I'm also going to talk about in this video about, like, how, because I think I'm going to put some pictures up here of these, like, you know, like these Dogman. I've seen videos on this Dogman cryptid shit, this Dogman stuff. And, you know, how I look at it is this. I look at it like, you know, you don't actually hear a lot about, like, you don't hear a lot about, like, vicious, like, really having to do with people involved attacks with this thing or anything. You don't really hear much about that. So, but like I said, people inherently just are so, like, they literally think that's like the epitome of evil. You know, it's like evil incarnate. No. Evil incarnate probably lives like a house away from you, could live in your same complex. Evil incarnate could live like a town over. I'm telling you, it's not these cryptids and things. It's not. No. It's fucking people doing all this crazy. It's people who are really doing the evil deeds and the crime and shit. Those are what? That's what's actually doing all this damage, if you will. You know, just like someone told me, I forgot what day it was. Someone told me that there's been like a murder, string of murders or something, and people have been literally floating down a river. I'm like, what? This is the craziest thing. In my head, I guess I'm just wired different. So when I think murder, I think of like, oh man, some motherfuckers got into a brawl and somebody stabbed somebody. You know what I mean? Like some shit like that. You know? No, this crazy ass person is supposedly shooting people. So I'm thinking, god damn, you're not even giving these motherfuckers a fighting chance. You're just shooting motherfuckers, like assassinating them. Like you're just literally like finding victims, or probably planning. I don't know if this person is stalking. I don't know how involved this person is, because this person could be a straight up crazed psycho killer. Like they may have body armor. They may have everything. Body armor, laser sights, everything. Like they're literally hunting, but with contingency plans. Like they're like, I'm not gonna get my ass shot. You have no chance of defense. I'm seeing you, I'm stalking you, and I'm shooting you. I don't know, you know, but it could be that. But I know they're shooting motherfuckers as that. And it could be more than one person, for all I know. But my whole point is this, it's like, that shit right there is evil as fuck. Are you serious? You know what I mean? Like, that shit right there is some evil, crazy shit. It's some crazy shit. And it also seems a little, I don't know to say cowardice, because I think, like, at a point, like, a person trying to murder people in that manner clearly has no intentions of getting caught, nor do they want any competition. They are not that type of murderer. They are not the type of murderer that literally wants to fight up close and personal. They want to just shoot you from wherever. They just want to kill you, and that's it. I don't know what it does for them, but obviously it does something, because it's fucking going on. I'm not going to say where this is happening, either where I am, but I'm just saying this is what I heard. This is the shit that I heard. You know? And I'm like, god damn. That's what I mean. Now, this person, and I've heard other stories. I could tell you some other stories I heard about some motherfucker that was just like sick and twisted and should be brought to justice and worse. you know, that I heard of doing some crazy shit. Some shit you probably wouldn't even believe, right? Some shit you wouldn't even believe, but it's true. That's why I've come to, because I was told this from like close people that what actually happened. You know what I mean? Some of them actually knew firsthand some of the people that this shit were involved with. Right? So I'm just saying, man. I think I'm gonna cut the rant here, but I'm saying, before you go, I always say this, before you go thinking you know something, like you're like, oh, you know, you're having your little opinion, why don't you think where your opinion actually is coming from? You know, like, are you really misguided? Are you that naive? Do you not know what's up, like, for real? Okay? Or is your head just up your ass all day long? That's a question you gotta ask. So, I'm sure some people will think I'm talking hate speech and every other goddamn thing. And I feel like I'm putting myself in risk for even, like, voicing this on a fucking rant. But guess what? I felt like it needed to be said. Like a lot of things I say, I feel like this needed to be said. It needed to be put in a rant. So, boom, there it is. Okay. So, that's the rant. And have a nice day.